Hey folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Thursday, August 6th, 2009. Well, folks, the markets are under a little bit of pressure here as I give this intraday video here at a little after 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, there's a few things we got to go over. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about why the markets are under a little pressure. How did we know the key level? And by the way, folks, this level of 100.85 on the SPY had been called out to our Premium Research Center subscribers over 2 weeks ago now. About 2 weeks ago, we alerted them that that would be the major resistance. So far, it has held up with a vengeance, a really unbelievable amount of resistance there. We nailed it to the penny, literally, folks. You can see a couple days ago hitting right here, then yesterday hitting right up here and pulling back, and then again today. You never got to close above it. You went above it by intra-candle, but by the close, you were below it, and that cascaded into more selling. Now, the interesting thing about it is you're watching for a change in character here. For those of you that are with us in the research center or in the chat room, you know what we talk about when we say change of character, but you're really watching for, does the market change its style? Every day you're having volatility when there's volume in the market, meaning that when you have volume in the morning, in the early morning, or the late afternoon, 3:30 to 4 or 9:30 to 10:30, you see the market very volatile and swinging to the downside. Generally, the selling is going in. Look at yesterday, selling from the open, but as soon as you get to 10:30, 11 o'clock, you start to see light volume take over, and the markets just float higher on light volume. And that's really what we talk about when we say this is the character of the market. When there's light volume there's no sellers. And then you see institutions coming out and selling in the mornings or late afternoons when there's volume in the market. And you can see yesterday is a perfect example of this. Look at early selling here when the volume's heavy. All right, down here you see the volume. Then later, market floats up. Look at the volume trend right here all day long. And then all of a sudden you come up here, and then heavy volume comes back into the close, and you see a nice little sell-off. Well, guess what? Same thing so far today. Heavy selling or heavy volume early on allows for institutions to unload, pushing the market down. Then they subside and they go out. As light volume takes over here, you saw a float up. However, you've seen a little bit of a change, at least initial change in character here, where the market was able to come back down and retouch this 200 level and our key trend line. And by the way, this level has been in the charts for weeks now as well. We called it out to our chat room at the 200. By the way, on the free blog, we nailed these calls. We said if you close below this level on the open, you'd see a hard sell. That's exactly what we saw. And by the way, you can go on the blog and actually look at this stuff on the free blog on our InTheMoneyStocks.com website. But we said that hard sell there, came down here, then we put out a call for a bounce, and this is, again, going out to free people who want to follow our blog, so we strongly encourage you to be able to look. Obviously, the chat room people get it first. They're always our priority, as well as the research center people, but bounce right here, the market bounces, then we called the resistance right up here in this area, and the market fell back down. So 3 calls, 3 for 3 today, continuing to be nailing this market here. Now, the market remains extended. Now, there's an interesting thing happening here, and we're going to have to watch to see if there's any change in character the rest of the day. But we'll watch very, very closely here as we're hovering just on top of this 200. The volume has died out again, which gives you a little upside bias. But again, at some point, you'll see a change in character, and the market will start to roll down. If it can break the lows of today and close here, next resistance would obviously be this dotted line or yesterday's lows of the day, right around 99.60, 99.50. That would be your next spot. Now, we're going to continue to watch. Do we see a float up here into the late afternoon? Does oil start to rally? Does it push the markets up? Right now, you do have the dollar stronger, which is putting a little bit of tiny pressure on crude oil, just a little bit today, with the UUP up pretty nicely on the day. But again, we want to see really, is there a change in character in this market? You want to continue to watch for that and really see what happens here into the late afternoon session. We're going to cover all this stuff in the afternoon, in the evening video in the Research Center. Again, a 40 minutes on average video on technicals in the market and the gold and oil and the dollar, all that stuff covered along with all our other services included in that Research Center at InTheMoneyStocks.com. But bottom line is, folks, you're still watching. Market seems to be on hold, just hugging this 200. Here's the 200. You can see it in red. We also have a pink trend line cutting through here, so you know this was support. That's why you got a bounce there. Beautiful. We called it out in the chat room for a good scalp all the way up. Then a retrace. There's another little bit of a scalp here, and now you're starting to settle on it where you want to see, do we start to break up on light volume with a buy program later today, or do we start to break down here and take out this low, go to this level right here, and then if that gets taken out, your next big level is going to be around 99.25, 99.25 on the SPY. Right now, the Dow is down about 30 points. Not much of a fall, really, to be honest. NASDAQ down about 15. That's a solid move lower. Again, Cisco had earnings yesterday. Not the greatest kind of future outlook on their earnings. That's really what the problem was there, but it's hanging in there not too badly. S&P is down about 5 and change right now, down 0.5% as well. So you have a minor sell day. Again, you're not seeing these big sell days that you might expect, folks, with the market up as much as it is, and that's something else you want to see. You want to see one day a good 200, 300 point down day to really signal that the market may have topped out, and that, again, is still up for debate. We want to continue to follow it. We've made some pretty interesting calls here for our research center guys in understanding what the markets are, the key levels on certain stocks, on their hot charts and alerts, and also a few other things based on the other daily market reports on gold and oil levels. But again, nailed on the research center. For those of you guys in the research center that are listening to this, just look at the dollars today. That's exactly what we talked about last night: oil and gold. So we nailed those 3 calls again, guys. And the high level at 1085, 100 spot 85 on the S&P continues to be the level to watch here, which we nailed again. We talked about it being resistance yesterday, and even a week or two ago, that would be the spot the market would go to. It's exactly where it went to. So anyone who out there who hasn't joined, you might want to join just to get the sense of really being on top of the market, being ahead of the curve. That's really what you want to do, all right? But again, in the afternoon session, folks, just continue to watch oil and the dollar, and then watch the market on light volume here into really 3 o'clock, 3:30. Then its volume should pick up. Now, tomorrow's the big anticipated unemployment number, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. We have to see, does it come out? I think they're expecting a loss of 275 to 300,000 jobs over the last month, and an unemployment rate of 9.6%. So we want to see if that continues, if that's right. Is it worse than expected? Is it better than expected? Markets remain extremely kind of bloated here, but that doesn't mean they can't go a little bit higher. First, we'll continue to call the levels. We have a level if it breaks 100 spot 85, the next level, which will be the major resistance. We obviously released that as well to our research center guys. Okay, guys, that's all for now. You're seeing the market uptick here. Look at the volume. No volume down here. Market is upticking just a little bit. That's what you really want to follow now, because the volume, light volume, dictates a slightly upside bias in the market. So again, do we float higher? Do we rally up back to the highs, previous pivot highs right here before we get to that 3 o'clock, 3:30 session? And do we see buy programs? Watch for buy programs. Watch Goldman Sachs. Watch some of these other players. That's really what you're watching. All right, folks? Have a wonderful rest of the day. We hope to have you. By the way, webinar this weekend on our methodology about cycle calculations, about pivot calculations, all that kind of stuff on counting how many bars and key before you're going to fall, and all that kind of hardcore stuff that really no one else talks about out there. That's what we talk about. So we definitely encourage you to sign up for that. You can go find it on our website under seminars, webinars, education link on our website. Have a wonderful rest of the day, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.